Alright, welcome back everyone to A Programmer Plays Wavetale. In our previous episode, we get to boss fight in pirate area, question mark. So we're gonna start this episode off hot, assuming that I'm right about the save.
I'm the mayor of Strandville.
Alright, so that's interesting. So the save happens at the beginning of the conversation. That's fine. But now we just gotta hop in here and defeat the
Save us from our sins.
Try to keep them at bay. I'll guard the ship. Here comes some more.
Yeah. I like these striders, but I am starting to worry that there's not going to be any, like, additional anything with them. Like, the pattern is get close, hook shot, 3 light attacks.
That was the easy part.
Alright. I'm guessing.
Is it? Feeding off the chimneys? Let's set that vermin on fire. There's a pressure plate at the bottom of the chimney that activates the furnace.
How does our grandmother know that? Just like offhand, like, hey, here's how this area works. You can't smack those.
The ignition switches are at the top of the furnace.
Where was I supposed to be going with that? Okay, over there. Okay.
Too hard to handle for you?
Fun that we're actually climbing on the serpent itself there. I like that. Right, where are you going, big boy?
Be careful, everyone. Here comes more of them.
Eh.
Quick now, the pressure plate.
Time for another round of barbecue.
Guess because we're roasting its face. Slightly unfortunate that we can clip through boss's face. I get it. I genuinely do get it. But
Feeling broiled yet?
kind of a predictable outcome of, hey, you put a grapple point like right on the boss. So I'm not sure how I would try and spice up the striders. Like, that's an interesting question. Probably the move would be, at least in my opinion, make the striders that we see just kind of like out in the world a different enemy than the ones that we see in boss fight, or make it so that first boss fight introduces simple striders. Yeah, that's what really should be the case. First boss introduces simple striders, second boss fight introduces some additional wrinkle to them. I do really like that we've got alternate route going up the serpent here. That's cool.
That's it. You run back to your blasted masters.
Little eyes turning into X's is cute. Also, they did a good job with the sense of scale on this. Like, there's a lot of weight to the way that it moved, without being too ponderous.
Some action, lass. Since at least one of you can do more than talk, we'll grant your wish. Follow us.
I like the voice actress's delivery there. I don't love the line that she had to deliver. Will grant your wish. Just who talks like that? Gosh, I'm being awful critical of this game. I really wish I wasn't being so critical of this game. I guess that's not the way. I do appreciate that they're letting me just like take these horrible routes up. How was I supposed to get up here, I wonder? Probably like a... Alright, so there's a thing that's here. Ah. Slightly difficult to see camera angle.
Who's that?
That's little Cassius, the foreman's son.
Little Cassius?
He's much smaller than his older brother. Now, you let me do the talking.
Well, I'll be damned. Mrs. Skagerrak. Going slumming, are you?
You never liked me, Cassius. I know that. But now is not the time for old grudges. Can you make this?
Of course I can, but why should I?
Because you and your team are the best builders around here.
That is correct, Mrs. Skagerrak. And if you people had thought of that sooner, when our wages were cut and our working conditions were toughened, we might have wanted to offer you our skills now.
But you didn't, did you?
Look, we don't have time for petty quarrels about who owes what to whom. The paws are upon us.
The paws? Oh, she's just trying to trick us into helping her.
No, it's true. Their airship is what brought the gloom here. They control it. We've seen it with our own eyes, right, Grandma?
Yes, we've seen it. They want to destroy us, Cassius. They must be stopped.
We could get the material we need if we decide to help you, that is. From the wrecks at Needle Prick Peaks.
That's really far away. The lighthouse will never be strong enough to push the fog away from there.
You're the one that fought off that snake, am I right?
Yes, Mr. Pirate. I mean, yes, sir.
Well done, girl. And you are quite right about the fog, too. But we have our methods.
Methods?
You know, pirates gotta get the job done, even if there's a little fog around. We've got spark cannons on our best boats. Or on our best pirate ships, I should probably say. Problem is, that nasty serpent flung away all 3 of them, along with their crew. Help us find them, and we'll help you build your weapon. Do we have a deal, young lady?
We have a deal.
You should start by talking to Peppy, they're our fleet admiral. We'll also need a substantial amount of sparks that the cannons are going to make all that gloom. Your eyes peeled. So, again, a little bit of, like, dialogue. That voice actor having to deliver the line, when our wages were cut and our working conditions toughened. Who uses toughened like that? Just cite some specific, what's the phrase? Specific and telling detail. Like, we'll figure out conditions were toughened if you just say, like, and our vacations canceled or something like that. Like, it. Honestly, you'd be the point would be just fine if they said when our wages were cut. Like, people will understand what I'm talking about. Probably no secrets up there. I'm looking at this island, trying to see if there's, journals and whatnot around that I've collected. Very probably. It's weird that there's still gunk on here that I can't clear out. That feels mildly inconsistent with the rest of the game's design language. That's okay. Before we get started on this next little quest bit, though, do change our look for this episode. Sort of forcing myself to do this, otherwise I would probably just hit on the defaults the whole game. Why did the ocean break up with the pond? She thought he was too shallow. Alright. We will do loving this tie-dye one. And to match it, not like a dark purple, not this blue, better. What's this one? Faded Gloom. Yeah, we'll go with Cactus Hat. Alright. Figured, I presume. Cassius warned me of your arrival on the radio. Could you start by freeing my ship? Don't want to sound selfish, but it'd be practical and, well, it's right there. Fantastic. I better... Alright, well...
You're not from around here, are you?
Didn't get to choose to advance that dialogue, it just advanced on its own.
Oh, botanical garden. Did some work there with my dad.
Boy,
Are
that's the one.
I can't move, by the way.
You're that little blue-haired squirt who always got pricked by the rose thorns. You're Irish. I did. Thought she was a self-centered little brat.
no.
There's more to that story. I'll get to it once I'm done greasing the engine.
It felt like we were supposed to be able to move during that, but we could not. So I've been thinking about like how would I change the writers, like make them more interesting over time. What I would probably do is give them some sort of like sheet or something that can be broken by doing a charge jump into it. Make it more of a multi-step process to with them. And that didn't work.
Yeah.
Back in my element. Thank you, Water Walker.
Ship coming your way, Peppy.
Hunky dory.
So that
Oh, right. I met her during my activist years when we campaigned together.
what did you campaign for?
For the dandelion to be shut down. The workers told some worrying stories, my mom included, about how they were treated, about the side effects of the spark extraction. But people didn't listen, so we tried to make them.
Did it work?
What do you think? Better get back to this. Talk later.
All right. So most games, when you have a dialogue, characters just stand there and talk at each other, right? And just your way through it. This game has a radio system, similar to Warframe, where you can be doing stuff and the characters talk in the background without you having to like deal with it. Why they chose not to use that system for those conversations is beyond me, because that's a really good system. I want more games to use exactly the system that they've got right here, because it lets the player sort of multitask and sort of do what they want. If someone wants just sit there and listen to the conversation and give it their full attention, they can. There's nothing stopping them from doing that. But if you're like me and you like to be moving while you listen, could do that with the radio system that this game has. Again, like, it exists. We see it getting used a lot. So why they chose not to use it for those dialogues specifically bewilders me. Kind of weird that they've got that little hit right there. Feels like prime opportunity for some secrets. Box for this is funky. You know, I'm not even going to ask what kind of black magic lets you do that. I'm just happy you found us.
You mentioned you didn't like Mom?
That's right. I wrote her off as a privileged rascal looking for attention. Your grandmother was a higher up at the Dandelion after all. But with time, I had to admit to myself that she just cared. It's a hard thing to do, to change your mind about someone. I'm glad I was brave enough to do it. She became one of my closest friends.
I'm glad to hear she had that. Friends.
What do we think, chat? Is our dad that we're talking to? Character design doesn't make me think so, but the conversation does. Wow, thanks a lot.
Another one incoming.
I'm ready. Come join us as soon as you have enough sparks, will you?
Interesting that it's just explore the area for sparks. Okay, so they're definitely an area behind us. Did you see a race though, I think? So let's do that race. I think that's what that icon means. There you are. What's that in your face? Oh, I see. It's the look of someone in need of a new challenge. You up for it, Ziggy Zag? I'm ready. That's why I like you. Shit. All right, so this one's trickier. I don't know. All right, that did not work out for us. Ah, okay, I see. Gonna make it. Interesting that this is like kind of subverting what we've been doing this entire time, right? Where it's like, hey, usually you want to do that immediately, right? But in this case, we don't, because we want to grab those and get more time. The time saved from the dash is just not worth the extra like 5 seconds that can net us. I think it's 5 seconds. Maybe more. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, I present to you Shrimpy, the Sharp Shadow Rider. I heard your grand call you that. Shrimpy, it's cute. Your prize, my lady. Hey, that's the third challenge. Alright, so 3 Thinguses in here, it looks like. I'm interpreting those correctly. almost overlooked.
And that's all of them.
Nice work. And Sigrid, I'm sorry about whatever happened to Iris. You have my condolences.
Thank you, Peppy. And thanks for sharing your story.
Happy to, kiddo.
And then that conversation right there was the radio system. There was an island. It didn't seem like there was. Entirely possible that Peppy is a woman, and I was just unsure about things. I know that this game is explicitly referenced non-binary characters, so. After discussing with Miss Skagerrak, we both agreed that our main focus should be on to find a spark reactor. Spark energy you gathered, it seems we're all ready to go, no?
Yeah.
Ready, Captain! Oh, this is our cabin boy, Peter.
Yeah.
At your service, miss. Nice to meet you, Peter. Yeah, drop the niceties. Let's move along and grab what we need. Again, with a little bit of shuddering. But it's definitely not restricted to Grandma's boat.
Cool. Can I try? She's not so fond of strangers, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, newcomers rarely mean anything good around here.
They don't?
No one from the outside ever gave a dab about the Hill Crew. Only came around when they needed us.
You mean like us?
Yeah, I guess. But you gave something back, chasing off that snake. After the war, people who used to make us work for peanuts at the Dandelion just came pouring in. But this time, they didn't even have peanuts to offer. So we turned them down, decided to keep to ourselves. It made them real mad.
Wait, this must have been way before you were born.
Well, unlike all the hill folks who fought in the war, stormies don't die.
That all the boats are going. I was kind of wondering if they were going to do the, just one boat goes and the others show up later. It does feel a little silly that we've got these 3 supposedly pirate ships with cannons that can't do shit against the Striders. It's just me fighting. I'm enjoying these chained mobility bits. Kind of reminds me of Jack and Daxter a bit. Or not Jack. Yeah, Jack and Daxter. Where you do the little...
What's with all the rocks over there?
That, my friend, is the Needle Prick Memorial. A small token of gratitude to those who fought against the dirty paws and didn't make it back.
Oh, who built it?
Don't know. Maybe one person. Maybe 100. One day it was just there. And people kept adding to it. At least until this area got too gloomed up to be safe. It's mostly stones and scrap parts from the area. But they're placed with love.
Grandma? Is this where Grandpa died? Granny?
We used to go to the pine forests here before the war, you know. Every fall, me and John, to pick chanterelles. I always made him cover his eyes for the last part of the way. It was my secret mushroom place, you see, and he wasn't very good at keeping secrets. He would have slipped and told someone if they asked, I'm sure of it. And now, he sleeps here, on a bed of chanterelles.
Such unnecessary evil. We can't let this happen again.
Weird to have one that's just like out in the water.
All right, let's hope this works.
Alright.
This place gives me the chills.
It does that to you. This is where the final battle against the Dirty Paws took place. We paid a heavy price, but we finally took them down.
Existence of this makes me think I will be back here later. Or at least can come back here later. Let's look at our map actually. So yeah, okay, looping back around. Yeah, we're gonna loop around. Probably we'll be able to clear this whole area out. And then go north.
Here we go again.
Spiders, where? Okay, there.
Are we visiting Rufus?
Yeah. He would know where we could find a spark reactor. One of those wrecks gotta have one in working condition.
He's not gonna like this. Not fond of visits, that man. Especially not impromptu ones.
I brought a box of his favorite tea leaves. Hopefully enough for the trade.
What Troubled said about the Dirty Paws, about the Whistlers. I've never even heard that name. Who are they?
On ships. It is mildly unfortunate that like bumping into the ship sort of like knocks me out of what I'm currently doing. I get it. Like it makes sense, but also the area is cramped enough that it's a little bit of an annoyance. Especially since they've put pickups like directly on the ship's path. like right there. Like I'm trying to get over to it, but
We need to get that poor sod out of there.
ugh, what? Happy, why are you here? What's with the crowd? That gloom wave over Adolf Strandville, we need reinforcements. And now we need stuff. I hear you have a spark reactor. You can't come into my home and just demand things. We brought tea leaves. Tea leaves? Well, there should be a working reactor in this ship here. You'll need to clean this place up if you're going to get a shot at getting up there. Well, Sigrid, get to it. So I'm assuming that the narrative here is that our grandmother was part of, like, the upper class that was, like, taking things for granted and exploiting the working class, people who are now quote-unquote pirates. And that's, like, that's why she's such an asshole, it seems like. It would certainly explain, like, she's been talking about, like, oh, the dandelion provided everything we needed, and it's like, anytime someone says that, a little sketchy. Unless you're, like, Star Trek level post-scarcity utopia, that's a questionable thing for a character to say. This is a cool note, though. Like, this platform here, swaying, like, this is actually technically fairly difficult to do. It's not even that it's like translating side to side. It is actually like rotating around a pivot point way up. And our character inherited the motion without any jank. So good on you, devs. That was very smooth. The previous episode, I did mention how I appreciate when cameras will like look at things, like highlight, hey, the switch you flipped did the thing. The caveat to that, and part of the reason why some developers avoid it, is the situation that just happened there, where I was already moving, and then the camera started to like look at something that wasn't the jump that I was doing, started moving on me in a way that could have gotten me into a pickle. So, you know, like everything, there's a trade-off at work there. Alright, so maybe there is like a stun to... Yeah, okay, so finally, I'm starting to understand why I might add that to my combat. If there's a stun component to the heavy attack, then that's a justification for me mixing it into my combos. Heavy. Good use of the camera there to sell the heaviness of it. That cutscene to show that the other characters have grabbed it. Alright, yeah, so this dive that I just did, I've not been consistently doing that, and I'm not sure why not. Alright, that's what we need, let's get going. Before you leave, Water Girl, go and clean off my generators as well. I'd prefer to have my radiator working tonight. Of course, I'll do that. Ziggy, we're in a hurry. You can go ahead, I'll be right behind you. Well, make it quick. You heard the lady, make it quick, I'll be inside. The framing of this little detour is a little odd. In that he just like asked it as a favor. It felt like he should have, you know, been like, before I give this to you, I need you to do this. So again, this could be like characterization for the grandmother to show like, oh, she does not do things out of the kindness of her heart. Games often struggle with this thing where the ethics of the main character and the ethics of the player are not in alignment. Sigrid would turn on the generators, no problem. Guaranteed. The player might be like, you can do it. You live out here. Your choice. And so developers have to either force the player to do what the character would do, sort of robbing them of agency, or come up with convoluted incentives or something like that. It's often better just to avoid the problem entirely and be like, hey, whether or not the character would do this or not is a non-question. The player has to do this in order to progress. If that makes sense. Boy, camera really wanting to look down there for some reason. This little wreck? Technically, yes. The thing about adding the stun to the mix, I'm actually not sure that my regular thing doesn't also do that, so maybe I was seeing benefits that aren't actually tangible. Be a little bit of a shame. That didn't work out for me. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? Alright. I don't know what else is wrong.
What's the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost.
The Striders. I couldn't hold them back. And then the Dirty Paws showed up.
The Whistlers.
Yeah, the Whistlers. Anyway, I was sure they would kill me. But they didn't. Actually, I think they tried to...
Help you?
Yeah.
You know, all those stories you've been fed are not to be trusted.
How do you know?
Because I am one of those dirty paws you're all so afraid of. Although I prefer to be called by our rightful name. Care for a cup? That beloved dandelion of yours spat its poison into the sea. Eventually, it reached our lands. Big, nasty blobs that crawled onto our fields and destroyed our crops. We sent message after message to make you understand the damage you were causing, but you wouldn't listen. So eventually, we took matters into our own hands.
What did you do?
We realized we had to stop the gloom ourselves by sabotaging the Dandelion's main conduit. Our boat got hit just after midnight. 3 of us were killed immediately, and 1 lived long enough to say his prayers. I was crying like a babe, but having no wound severe enough to stop me, I kept going. Just before dawn, I reached my target. It was all up to me now. Our scientists had devised a fluid that was meant to drip into the heart of the dandelion and stop the machinery from running. Our mission was to pump it into one of the central vents, and that's what I did. I pumped the fluid in, plugged the vent, and I left. I didn't look back at first. The only thing I could think of was getting away. But then, when I turned my head, the entire thing had turned into a monster. Gloom shooting out like fountains of black saliva. I remember thinking of 100-armed octopuses and giant spiders, mythological creatures from my childhood stories. Then came a deafening thunder. The whole thing started to burst. Well, I guess you know the rest.
The ground cracked, the ocean roared, and Strandville was lost in the deep.
After what I caused, I couldn't bear to face anyone. So I settled here.
How did you survive the explosion?
All I know is that I passed out. When I woke up, the sea was calm. But the city was gone. And the people. All we wanted was to put an end to our misery. You understand? I followed the instructions, but it didn't work out. It didn't... Sweet mother of sparks, I should have died with the others.
You tried to save your people. You didn't know this would happen.
You're very kind. Just like your mother.
My mother?
She was my friend, the bravest person I ever met. She listened to us, even after the flood. She believed me when I told her that we never meant any harm. She even wanted to help me put things right, so we set out to try and fix the damage I'd caused. But we never... She never... She was investigating methods to change the behavior of the gloom. One day she came to my hideout looking for clues, as she put it. I told her to get lost. She wasn't easily scared. Like mother, like kid, I guess. She had been breeding flowers, you see. Some kind of modified version of the night weaver. An herb we grow back home. She had learned that its roots could bind the gloom back into the weave rock and stop it from spreading. She wanted me to take her to the pipe that started the rupture. Her idea was to pour some spark-induced night weaver seeds into the central vent and turn the dandelion into a sort of mending machine. Don't ask me about the science. That was her forte.
So you went back there?
Yes, child. She even made us go inside. She said it was crucial. I refused at first, but your mother was a very convincing woman. And I know you won't believe me when I tell you this, but it was as though the gloom felt threatened by us. Your mother fought for her life. I lost my right leg trying to save her, and I'd gladly give my left too, if that could bring her back. Since then, the gloom has kept spreading, like the plague it is.
Is there nothing left to do?
The airship manages to fight it off to some extent, using spores from the Nightweaver. But we have nowhere near what would be needed to fight it off forever.
What about this?
By all sparks, where did you get that? We have to get you to the airship. You have to show them!
The airship! They're gonna shoot it down!
What? Who?
That machine Cassius was talking about. It's a spark weapon to shoot down the Whistler's barge.
Oh, those fools! May the gloom drown them! Curse all of them and their trigger-happy fingers! They're nothing but a bunch of short-sighted idiots! You must stop them, do you understand? Do whatever it takes to keep those morons from firing. Then you have to find Moira. Just follow the barge.
Moira?
The Whistler's leader. She's the only one who can make use of that seed. Now go!
A little bit of hard cutting there as it went back into gameplay. The reason why so many games do like fade to black, fade back in. Right? So yeah, we're getting a lot of context about it. Yeah, and now Grandma's just straight up the bad guy.
Grandma, I need to talk to you.
Quite busy here. What's the matter?
Grandma, listen to me. Don't fire.
What? Where are you? What's taking you so long?
Well, I got caught up in the fog, and then the polished ship came flying, and I thought I was gonna die, but Granny, they saved me. They sprayed something, and then there were flowers everywhere, and Rufus said that...
That bum at Needleprick? Siggy, I don't have time for this. Just hurry up and come home.
Promise you won't do anything more until I'm there.
You're breaking up. Just vamoose on back now, will ya?
Granny?
Alright, so here's a classic game design problem. We're at like a crucial story part of the game where there's like urgency and everything, but there's still side content to be done, like this race that's on the way. I'm gonna do this. I don't love that I'm doing it, because it does feel like I'm undermining the game's narrative thrust. But this is literally on my way, so we're gonna do it. Ziggy Zag, I think your surfing is even smoother than last time I saw you, but don't you worry, I'll always find new ways to challenge you. You ready? I'm ready. Of course you are. Alright, well, messed that one up. Oh. That might have been it right there. Alright. Camera a little bit fighting me here. Oof. Missed multiple time extensions. Oof, how's that supposed to work? lose a lot of time. Oop. Alright. Not even gonna attempt it. Gosh, this one's tough. I feel like I'm missing something with that bit in the middle where you have the ones like on top of the two. Alright, so it doesn't feel like there's even like collision there. Gotta skip that, I guess. That's not good. Come on. Come on. Okay. I outraced the UI there. Come on. Yep. Not even gonna attempt it, that one. That's probably right there. Probably strats for like, oh, yep, that's it right there. At least the restart is like really snappy, not like a loading screen as you restart the race. That would make this truly aggravating. Funky happening with how she like snaps. Like she's trying to snap onto the platform. Go and just try and do better. Good enough. Woo! Guys, gals, and non-buried any pals, I present to you Sigrid, Soarer of the Seas. Seriously, put me down as your #1 fan, and promise to give me some lessons. Here, this is for you. Alright. So, got that. Did that save? I didn't see the saving indicator. Alright. We're gonna go until we see the next save icon, and then we'll call it for this episode. Yeah, as I was kind of afraid of, like, boy, that really, like, demolished... Oh, I just saw the save icon. Perfect. So, that kind of demolished the narrative inertia that we had going for us to do that little side activity, especially since it was kind of a tricky side activity that took quite a few restarts. But game development, it's much easier said than done. Thank you all very much for watching. Appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!